The Princess and the Frog was a 2009 Disney animated fantasy film produced by the Walt Disney Animation Studios. With a budget of $105 million, it more than doubled its profits in the box office, hitting over $271 million. It revolved around an African-American girl named Tiana and a prince who was turned into a frog, and today we shall get to see every character who featured in the film and all the people that voiced them in 2009 and where they are in 2025. We begin with a cook named Tiana, who lived in New Orleans and had a dream of opening a restaurant. She was so intelligent and resourceful, and was so gifted in cooking skills. We saw that she was so focused on work, and rarely had time to relax or to even spend time with family and friends. She firmly believed that nothing is obtained in the world unless it is done through hard work, and this was what drove her into working day and night for her dream restaurant. And even though she was a workaholic, she was seen enjoying things like music, dancing, and humorous jokes. She was voiced by Anika Noni Rose, who is an American actress who was named a Disney legend in 2011. Prince Naveen was the eldest prince of a kingdom called Maldonia, and was always seen admiring himself and his good looks. And while he went to visit New Orleans, he was transformed into a frog, and only a kiss from a princess could break the spell and turn him back into a human. Due to the fact that he was royalty, Naveen was so spoiled and lazy. His main concern was living life to the fullest only by partying as much as possible. He was disgusted by work, and tried as much as he could to avoid labor at all costs. He was voiced by Bruno Campos, who is now a Brazilian lawyer and a former actor, and is actually a dual citizen of both America and Brazil. Charlotte LeBeau was a flamboyant Southern belle and a good friend of Tiana. She came from a wealthy family and was always given everything she ever wanted. Just like Naveen, Charlotte was a spoiled kid who was sometimes self-centered with a shallow personality. She always wanted a storybook life, meaning she wanted to be married by a prince and live happily ever after. And this always made her wear beautiful princess dresses most of the time. She was mostly a ditzy and impulsive diva, who was generally nice and had no ill motives throughout the film. She was voiced by Jennifer Cody, who is an American actress and dancer, and is known to start her acting career back in the late 80s when she was in her 20s. Dr. Facilier was an evil, smooth-talking witch doctor who always wanted to rule New Orleans. He was from a poor background and always wanted to change his fate by being richer and more powerful each and every day. He was just a man driven by greed and the desire to have authority over others. He was also an opportunist and could quickly formulate plots for his gains. Nothing could come between him and his goals, and this made him a cruel and remorseless man who didn't see the problem with terrorizing civilians as a means to reach his own goals. He was voiced by the great Keith David, who is an American actor that is very well known for his deep voice across so many animation movies and shows, example like The Gargoyles. Now to you Dora Rogers, who was the mother of Tiana, and worked as a seamstress in New Orleans. She was just a supporting character who appeared once in a while. She loved making dresses, but did not appreciate Tiana's workaholic behaviors. She was a middle-aged African-American woman and was voiced by the iconic Oprah Winfrey, who is an American talk show host, a television producer, and a media proprietor. Married since 1986, she also has a net worth of $3 billion as of 2025. Raymond, who was popularly known as Ray, was a Cajun firefly who was seen having a romantic infatuation with an evening star known as Evangeline. He was known to be so friendly and hopeful even though he was the smallest creature in the whole film. He loved singing and entertaining anyone he met, and was also seen to be extremely generous. Example like when he agreed to help Tiana and Naveen without expecting any reward. He was voiced by the mighty Jim Cummings, a man who is so good in voicing anthropomorphic animals, and well known for voicing Pooh in Winnie the Pooh. There was this alligator called Lewis, and was a trumpet player that always wanted to become a jazz musician just like humans. He was a very large gator, who despite his size, was a gentle giant with a heart of gold. He really loved his trumpet, and always dreamed of performing in front of humans without scaring them. He was also known to have a serious fear of guns and the hunters who used them because of the mass hunting that was going on during that time. He was voiced by Michael Leon Woolley, who was an American actor that was born on March of 29th, 1971. Mama Audie was a blind 197-year-old voodoo priestess who lived in the deep swamps of Louisiana. She was a wise old woman who had great power and gave out granny vibes with her warm and nurturing personality. And even with her power, she never presented herself as high and mighty and was really casual throughout her appearances. She was voiced by Jennifer Lewis, an American actress who could also be seen in Sister Act. There were these three gentlemen, Reggie, Darnell, and Two Fingers, who were seen frog hunting in the swamps. Reggie was the leader of the trio, Darnell was the large and bumbling son of Reggie, and Two Fingers was the most menacing and dangerous among the three. Darnell was voiced by Don Hall, Reggie was voiced by Richie Montgomery, and Two Fingers was voiced by Paul Briggs, all who are animators and American actors. Lawrence was Prince Naveen's royal valet. He was always getting disrespected by the prince, and this made him betray the royals and join the wicked Dr. Facilier to exact vengeance on Naveen. James Rogers was the father of Tiana, and was a hardworking family man who really wanted to support Tiana in owning her own restaurant. He was a loving and caring man, who wanted nothing less than to support and care for his loved ones. Marlin was an alligator and a minor antagonist, who was a sadistic creature that lived in Louisiana Bayou. Georgia was a good friend of Tiana who always visited her at the place that she worked. She was not seen much and was just a supporting character. Ian was another alligator who served as the leader of the alligator congregation in the Louisiana Bayou. There was this chef known as Buford, who was the head chef from Duke's restaurant, and was also the former boss of Tiana. And finally Henry Fenner, who was first seen with his brother Harvey Fenner removing their real estate business sign next to the old sugar mill which Tiana later bought and became her restaurant.